Hello, my name is Sonia Brown. My presentation is Using Student Development Theories for Success. This is a review of author Chickering and Alexander Astin frameworks. The reason why I looked at these two theories is to better understand how to help students journey through college successfully, how we may come up with competencies for college faculty and staff to better help students. And several research have shown that student development theories will help students acquire skills that are fundamental to success. Two reported outcomes: college administrators will improve their practices, and college students will develop skills for success. Let's define student development theory. These are theories upon which we can base our practice, and these are theories that can effectively describe the college students. These are a composition of psychological findings that are centered around students and their success. It is important to look at these theories because college administrators and staff will become more fully understanding of college students and what they're going through. It will also give us a stronger understanding of how students develop and how we can make decisions to help them. We can also use student developmental theory to improve educational policies. Just bear in mind, though, that there is no single framework that can help the student. We have to look at several different strategies and activities in multiple structures to help the student. Astin theorized about his student development or student involvement. Student involvement refers to the physical and psychological energy in various activities by the student. These are necessary for student growth to take place. It could be club activities. Student activities also should have a quantitative and qualitative feature. So the amount of time a student takes and also the seriousness of that student is important. The more a student puts in, the more she gets out of it. Co-curricular activity is very important. Should be a desirable outcome of the institution. There are three core elements of Astin's theory. Inputs, that is, college faculty and administrators should look at the students' demographics and other background experiences. Environment is important, not just the institutional environment, but also the students' home and community environment. Then, third, we should look at the outcome. Did the students get to achieve all the variables that are important, knowledge, attitudes, and other important values? Retention and degree attainment is also a primary factor. Research indicates that student institutions with low retention rates report low levels of faculty interaction, while colleges with high retention rates report high levels of interaction. Faculty involvement is also important. Faculty could serve in student committees, participate in orientation, among other things, even advising students. Chickering also talks about identity development, but he looks at 7 ways that students can put themselves a task to be better. He calls these vectors. Vector 1 is developing competency, and this can be developed intellectually, which is students should be able to analyze things. Manually, the student should be able to physically accomplish things. And the student should also have interpersonal competence, that is, the ability to work with others. Students should be able to manage their emotions. Vector 3 talks about emotional independence and instrumental independence. That is, the student should have the ability to solve problems on one's own. Vector 4 looks at establishing relationships. Once a student is exposed on college campus, they will come in contact with students of different backgrounds. Students should be able to develop meaningful relationships with other students. Establishing identity is important. Students should be able to discover all sorts of experience that will help them to fashion their mind and their strength. Developing a purpose. Students should establish a purpose of getting a job, earn a living, build skills that are important. Their energy should be positive at all times. And Vector 7, development of integrity. The ability for students to personalize humanizing values and apply them to their own behavior. How do we apply these 7 vectors? Chickering cautioned us to use them as a guide when interacting with students, but they should not always have to be used linear. It's a movement and it's a growth. These changes in students should be perceived. Faculty and staff should mentor students so that they can be able to recognize changes while using these vectors. Role of faculty and staff is important in the student development theories, understanding their development and involvement and in their identity. Faculty and staff can utilize student development theories in practical situations, while remembering that there's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Promoting integrative and interdisciplinary approaches to learning is important. Restructuring existing learning opportunities by examining multiple perspectives is important. The institution should also play an important role. The institution objectives should provide clear guides for program development. Size does matters in balancing students with available opportunities. The curriculum should be relevant also, taking into consideration those inputs that Astin talked about. Relevant curriculum that is sensitive to individual differences. Students' demographics and environments are all different. Faculty should teach and encourage students to be active learners. Students should be encouraged to form friendships and create communities amongst them. The institution, through their practice, faculty, staff, administrators should create evidence that student development is working. It is important to provide evidence of program effectiveness. Asking questions is important. Be purposeful in the assessment. Questions like, why is the assessment being done? Who will be assessed? Use focus assessments by having conversation with students so that you can gain relevant data. The process should include tracking. It should be aligning with the individual need of the students. The environment of the student culture should be identified. Fourth, understanding the environment and culture aids in assessing the outcome. Data collection, how are they interpreted is important. And fifth, through the assessment process, we should use comparable organizations and professional data and standards to help us. And in conclusion, it is important that we use theories to help us explain behavior. Student development theories are important. It helps us to characterize their growth and their progress in the years through college. The stages are important. Those vectors are important to help us understand how students are mentally forming. Assessment and theory helps in roles for administrators and measure the development of students gained throughout the years. Thank you for listening, and you may look at my references.